Joe Joyce, Joe Parker. Why are these two giants with us here?
Because these two giants are going to fight each other and see who's the best giant.
Listen, I'm very excited to be signing with Boxer and you know, Sky.
You know, Joe Parker's not the ranked number one. He's not the mandatory. Joe Joyce is. This is the Joe Joyce business. You want to get that spot, you've got to beat Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
Why don't we just make the fight happen? Just because he's on BBC Sports and I'm on Sky doesn't mean we can't make it happen.
It's hard to be one of the greats, whatever it takes. Put that on the plate. Life is a gamble, we raising the stakes. Moving the bar up so high. Been on our grind for life. Bringing the light, you just so bright. We shining.
Edging closer to the inner circle. Just got Joe Parker to beat.
Changing the world with this rhyme and this price.
A lot of people don't want to fight Joe Joyce because he's got an engine on him and he can take a punch and he can do a lot of damage.
Every day we chasing. No time to be wasted.
Okay, well look, a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all media joining here today. It's great to see so many faces here, and welcome to everyone watching across the Queensberry and BT Sport YouTube pages. As you can see from this top table, it's good news. We've done it. We've got a big one. Joe Joyce, Joseph Parker, September 24th at the AO Arena, Manchester. It's on, and it's live on BT Sport Box Office. Two of the very best heavyweights in the world. One of the best fights that can be made in the heavyweight division takes place. Tickets are on sale on Tuesday at 12 o'clock via ticketmaster.co.uk, and you are going to want to be there. As you can see, have a little look around. We've got some voices you're going to want to hear from today. On the Joseph Parker side, we have Ben Shalom of Boxer, who is Joseph Parker's promoter. And we have the former world heavyweight champion himself, looking to become a two-time world heavyweight champion. Of course, Joe Joyce is in his way, but Joseph Parker is here. On the Joe Joyce side, we have Adam Morley of S-Jam Boxing, Joe Joyce's long-term manager. We have Hall of Fame boxing promoter Frank Warren of Queensberry, who's putting this event on in association with Boxer. And of course, we have the unbeaten Olympic silver medalist, steamrolling his way, he believes, towards a world heavyweight championship, Mr. Joe Joyce. Frank, we're going to start with you. This fight it's been talked about for a while. It hasn't been the easiest road to this fight. Been a couple of diversions, couple of bumps, but we're here, and you've delivered it to Joe Joyce.
We delivered it. You know, we want to make the fight. It's a very important fight. It's WBO number 1, Joe, fighting WBO number 2, Joe. So these two are no ordinary Joes. They're two exceptional fighters, and I think we're going to get something a bit special on the night. You know, you look at their records. They've got fabulous records. Joe Joyce, 14 fights, undefeated, 13 KOs. His amateur pedigree is impeccable. Silver medalist, and I will say it again, got robbed, and I hope he's going to get that gold medal soon. Done everything as an amateur. And then we've got, on the other side, Joseph Parker, former world champion, as Deb just said, only defeats to Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. This is, I think, a big crossroads fight for him. Can he get past Joe Joyce? No one's managed to do it yet. Joe's got a fantastic engine in him. He's got a great chin. He's solid. He's also got a great punch, and a great work rate. And it's the same with Joseph Parker. He's got a great work rate. We know he comes to fight. And one thing's for sure here, it will be a great fight. These two heavyweights, it's all on the line. You know why? Because there's such a big prize for the winner. The winner of this fight will become, I believe, if we could do our job properly, will become the mandatory challenger to the fight that takes place on the 20th between Joshua and Usyk. So they've got everything to gain here. Everything's on the line. This is what it's all about. This is heavyweight boxing at its best. It's not just two guys having a fight. There is a prize. There's a big prize there at the end of the night for the winner, a massive incentive. So these guys are going to put it on the line big time, and I think the fans are going to get an unbelievable heavyweight, phenomenal bonanza fight.
Well, look, the fans thought that this fight might be dead when it didn't happen on July 2nd, and it didn't look imminent because of what happened. Obviously, we've got Ben Shalom here. What can you tell us about how this fight actually came together in the end? And, you know, we've got the great news that it's happening on September.
All you need to know, it's happened. That's all you need to know. We've done it, went on behind the scenes. You know, we worked very hard. Everyone, I'm talking about Joe Joyce has been so patient, and his manager, Adam. You know, we've all kept our eyes on the prize. We've had tunnel vision on this, and my son George done all the negotiations with Ben, and he done a great job. And between them, we've got it on. And all that matters now is that these two guys are signed up. These two guys are going to be in the ring on the 24th. That is all that matters. All the stuff in the past is in the past. That's gone. What we got to look forward to is an absolute, unbelievable fight. A heavyweight bang up at its best.
And how do you see that heavyweight bang up playing out? When you envisage it, September 24th, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, you know, listen, I'm sitting here with Joe. I'm in Joe's camp.
So am I.
And what do I think? we outnumber you 3-2. What do I think is going to happen? I fancy Joe. It's not going to be easy. I fancy Joe Joyce big time. I think that Joe's got one thing for sure. Joe will win it. But I think Joe Joyce, I think, has got, as I said, earlier on, he's got a fantastic engine. He's got a great mindset. He walks through walls. He absorbs punches, which I prefer sometimes he didn't do, but he manages to do it, and he does it, and he's strong, and he's relentless. He's well named. He's got probably the best nickname in boxing, the Juggernaut, because he's like a juggernaut. He just keeps rolling on and coming at you, and that's what he is. So I fancy him to win.
Okay, well, let's bring in Joseph Parker's promoter, Ben Shalom of Boxer. Ben, this is your first fight representing Joseph Parker live on BT Sport Box Office, September 24th. What are your thoughts and feelings heading into this fight?
First of all, thanks to Queensbury. I think it was the fight that all the fans wanted. When we signed Joseph, this was what they were crying out for. I didn't understand that they thought it couldn't happen just because he signed with us. I'm hoping boxing can now move in a direction. We know it's very competitive with different broadcasters, but at the end of the day, we're all fight fans. We all work in boxing. We want the best fights. And Joseph Parker wanted this fight the moment he signed for us. We obviously put in that offer that Frank didn't react to very nicely. And then that got us talking, and we saw eye to eye after that. I think all we wanted was to make the fight. All Frank wanted was to make the fight, and it's been a great experience, and we're just looking forward to an unbelievable fight. But what Frank says is right. There is so much on the line with this one. There is so much on the line. There is so much money now in heavyweight boxing and for those world titles that between the two of them now, they've got a life-changing opportunity. Obviously, Joseph Parker wants to become world champion for the second time, and we believe he can.
How do you see Joseph Parker winning this fight?
He's got the speed, he's got the movement, he's got the experience. that I feel Joe Joyce doesn't have in the professional world. He's been there, he's done it, he's clearly improving as well. We think this is the perfect fight for Joseph Parker. We think perhaps Joe Joyce has made a mistake in this one, and we think his style is all wrong for Joe Joyce. We think it's going to be a difficult night, but I think over 12 rounds, Joseph Parker won't get hit much, but he certainly will be very, very busy, and it's going to be an intriguing fight. Obviously, it's a clash of styles as well, but I think Joseph Parker has Joe Joyce's number in this one.
Well, let's bring in a voice from the Joe Joyce camp. Adam Morley of SJAM Boxing. You've heard that maybe you guys have made a mistake taking this fight and a bit of a wrong turn. Give us your thoughts heading into September 24th.
Thanks, Tev. Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to David Higgins about this fight since the end of December 2021 when he told me he had an exclusive period negotiating with Matchroom. That came to an end and we started negotiating, and it has been horrendous negotiating with those guys. Every time you think it's done, they're like Columbo, it's just one more thing, just one more thing, just one more thing. Joe Parker's a terrific guy. I know him personally outside the ring, and I know it's not him, it's his team, and you've got to do the best for your athlete, I understand that, but you know, his team just take it to the extreme, and I really actually thought it meant that Joe Parker didn't want this fight. I thought that's why they were behaving in that manner. But I think Joe Parker does want this fight. I think he's true to his word. He's a world champion. He's a top-level, top-class guy, and it's an amazing test for Joe Joyce. It's the one we've always wanted. I sat down with Frank and George after the last fight, and I said, this is our list, this is who we want, and Joe Parker was right at the top. Joe Joyce has got to keep proving himself. He's always had to do it. Ever since the start of his career, Joe has had to prove himself. He was the guy they all said, oh, he's too slow, he can't do this, he can't do that. He proves everyone wrong every time. That's what Joe does. When he fought Dubois, he was a big outsider. He beat Dubois. Now he'll come into this fight. I think most people probably have it as a 50-50, but he'll come through this as well. Also, credit to Ben Shalom and Frank and George and Andy Ailing, who negotiated this, showing that promoters can reach across the divide and do this deal. I think in the past it may not have been done, but really credit to those guys, because the public want these fights. Joe and I and the whole team have wanted this fight. And after tortuous negotiation with those guys, it is finally on. I can't wait.
You've talked about how you're laughing here, Joseph. You got something to say to Adam, I know.
He's right. It was torturous for everyone.
But thankfully, we're here now. Adam, how do you see Joseph Parker approaching this fight? When you think about it, how do you think he's going to try and test that chin of the juggernaut, the unbreakable chin? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, he had a great trainer in Kevin Barry. He's got a great trainer in Andy Lee. They've obviously got their game plan. Everybody watches Joe, and they think he's easy to hit, and they base their game plan around that. I think Joe Parker's experienced enough. He's been a world champion to know that he needs to have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. But I think, what you see is what you get with Joe Joyce, and I think Joe Parker and his team will have their plans.
Okay, well, let's bring in Joe Parker, one of the two Joes here today, but there's still no average Joe. Let's talk about this. Why Joe Joyce? Why now? Why were you so adamant that you wanted this fight?
I see this fight as a great fight for both Joes. Let's just say he's Joe and I'm Joseph. Make it easier.
He called you Little Joe. He said he's Big Joe, you're Little Joe when he put it.
Maybe bigger, but listen, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, right? So I think this is a great fight. Huh?
Harder they hit as well.
I think this is a great fight, both ranked highly in the WBO, WBC, and it's a fight that I've always wanted. Even though what Frank said, that let's not talk about the past, let's leave it in the past, everything that's happened. But thankful to Boxer and Sky and also BT and Frank for making this fight happen. It's a fight that a lot of people wanted to see. It's a fight that Joe wanted. It's a fight that I wanted, and now we're here. And I'm very excited to start camp with Andy Lee next week, and going to have the best preparation going into this fight.
When the fight looks set to happen on July 2nd, all the build-up, you guys look quite friendly. I remember bringing you guys together at Wembley Stadium, backstage, and it was all a bit of a laugh. It feels like, and I'm just sensing it today, and I've heard about the face-off with Carl Frampton as well, it feels like there's a bit more frostiness. He's been making quacking noises in interviews about you.
It makes it very well, too.
Sound effects, yeah. It's,
Oh, I thought it was.
Yo.
Do we have a
Testing.
functioning?
Mic check. No. Nah, yeah. Is that right?
There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. You're on. You're on. Joe Joyce.
I'm on
Do,
live?
yeah, he wants you to do the quack thing.
Whack.
There we go.
But Joseph, look, for the first time in your career, it feels like you started getting accusations from fans about potentially ducking and swerving a fight. You've always been a fighting man, always been a warrior. How did you react to that? He's making the ducking noise again.
There's no reaction. I mean, we're here now, and a lot of people can say that I ducked the fight, but the reason why we're here now is because we wanted the fight. And we've come to an agreement that everyone's happy with.
Yeah, at last.
No, I think Joseph Parker's done more to make this fight happen than Joe Joyce, to be honest.
What have you done?
He's come over here.
We're here
Not
now.
true.
We're here.
That's not true.
We've lived. Yeah.
That's so not true.
That's an opinion. He's done more to make it happen. He walked away from a fight.
Yeah, the terms weren't right, Frank. You shook my hand at
Well, you got
Tyson's
battle
press
better-
conference
you got better-
at one
better
deal,
terms now.
and then you went back and you told me it's a different deal.
No, your solicitor drafted the deal.
Frank, did you not remember shaking my hand at Tyson's press
I
conference?
do remember it.
Yeah.
Tyson
And what was it?
remembers as well.
What was the deal?
And Tyson remembers.
What was the deal?
What we did?
What was
Deal
you
that
went
I-
back and texted me. You said you couldn't fulfill the deal because you jumped the gun.
No,
Right?
I didn't
Yes, you
say
did.
that
We
at all.
negotiated.
You jumped the gun. You come up and told me what. The bottom line was you had a contract. I've got your text on my phone.
You
now.
shook my hand for a one-fight deal.
I'll read your contract. I'll read.
Do you want me to say the numbers? Do you want me to say the numbers here on?
If you want to say numbers, that's
You shook my hand at 1.5 million.
Right, did I? Did not.
You did.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
You shook my hand and I told the whole team.
What currency, mate? What currency?
Yeah, the
Oh,
currency's
listen,
up
Then we're gonna get the
right,
text.
hang on, listen to this. Morning, Frank. I sent you a text. Hey, Joe, just been told the fight is off. So much for your handshake. Morning, Frank. This is your reply. Apologies, it took a while to get the deal done. So get the deal
Yeah,
done.
it wasn't
says
done.
you've done.
It wasn't done.
What are you saying? It got the deal done. These are your words, not mine.
Yeah, I got this deal.
But was offered a better deal last minute.
Yeah.
So we had a deal done, and then
what
the
would
last
what would a
minute.
fighter do? Take a deal that's
Well,
not the
but don't
best, or
say
take a
that we
better deal?
didn't want the fight. You agreed it. And then someone come in and then you went off the other way. The only way you're at this table now is because there was nothing else on the table.
No, Frank, in fairness, I think
Stop.
all it was Joseph wanted.
Well, you weren't even involved in it.
He wanted
So- so-
all he wanted was he wanted a promoter, he wanted a
Well, he's
broadcaster
got a
that could
promoter.
prioritise
He's
it.
got a promoter.
That
He's
was
got a
it.
broadcaster. He's fighting on BT. Where he would have been anyway. So what's the
I think it's a one. Yeah, but it's
I
a
mean,
one.
that's where he was due. You're on BT. You're on BT where we was going to
It's
put
a
it on.
one fight thing, though, isn't it? Frank?
Sorry?
It's just a one fight. I'm not. Look,
Who said
Frank,
it's a one
we're
fight?
here because we made this
Well,
together. right?
you weren't even involved in the negotiations.
Yeah.
So you can't even comment on them.
I can't comment on what went on before,
No, you can't.
but now I know
You
it's
can't.
quite clear that Joseph
And you
Parker
can't
does
comment
want-
on the fact that he sent me this text, which is from him. It's on my phone. So don't tell me what was said. I
Frank,
know
you were
what
going to
was-
make me the B fighter. Why would I want to be a B fighter? I'll sign on something that makes me
Because
the
you
A
are
fighter.
the B fighter.
Because
What, have you been a
why,
champion?
Why was you going to?
What?
I'll tell
you
you
been a
why.
champion?
No, but you're not champion now, are you?
No, I'm not. Have you ever been champion?
No, not
So
yet.
shut your mouth.
Huh? No, I won't shut my mouth.
Yeah, shut your mouth.
No,
He's
you
the
shut
A.
your
He's
mouth.
the A fighter. He's the.
but I
Because
will
we're on
shut your
BT.
Sorry, I'll tell you what. This is where you get it all wrong. He is the guy who's ranked number one. You're ranked number two.
And ranking.
So he's
Yeah,
the A
so
fighter.
I'm the
Rankings and
A
network.
and you're the B fighter.
That's it. You got it
Calm
right.
down,
Simple.
little Joe.
Yeah,
Huh?
absolutely.
Little Joe.
Calm down.
Huh?
Relax.
You relax.
Chill.
All I know is it's on, and all I know is it's a lot of aggravation to get this on. Everything that's been said by over there by Adam is absolutely true. It's been, twice I've told my son he's negotiating, walk away from this bullshit. It's just ridiculous. We're all wasting our time.
A nightmare.
It was
Bloody
a
nightmare.
It was a nightmare. But you know what? We persevered because we wanted to deliver the fight, and we delivered it. So my man who I promote here, who's the number one
That's
in the
A
WBO,
side, yeah.
and number two in the WBC, and you're behind him in the WBC, he's giving you an opportunity
You have a lot of
to
pulling
step up
power,
to
Frank.
the plate.
You have a
That's
lot of
what he's
pulling
doing.
power.
And now you finally.
And you're asking why. Of course, I'm in the Joe Joyce.
Listen, that's
he's
good.
a British
Back-
fighter.
listen,
He's the
back your
British-
boy.
He's the British fighter.
Back your boy.
He's the home fighter.
That's great.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, let's bring in Joe Joyce. Look, this fight is called Nowhere to Run. Joe, you put out a statement a little while ago when this fight initially didn't materialise, and you said if Joseph Parker doesn't fight you next, everyone in boxing will know that he ducked Joe Joyce. Do you think this fight is happening because he's got nowhere to run?
That's right. And now the fight's happening. It's to give fans and all the people what they want, because it's going to be a great fight. And I can't wait to just knock him out, just for all this this long time waiting and all this messing about when we could have had it in July. And you're just wasting my time. It's gonna
because Andy's wife was having a baby. That's what you told us.
That's what happened.
Well, then good. Yeah, but so you're saying what I'm
but you
saying.
changed that, Frank.
He's
You
not
changed
run
the
away.
deal.
He's not run away from
You changed the deal.
No, I did not change the deal.
just been waiting.
Changing.
Yeah. All right.
Well, look, congratulations, by the way, to Andy Lee. Well done.
Congrats, Andy.
Congrats, Andy. Look,
Yeah.
Joe, how do you think Joseph Parker's going to approach you when that first bell rings? Do you think he's going to try and test that chin early, or just try and sort of avoid getting juggernauted for 12 rounds?
I think he's going to try his hardest to try and hit me and whatever he's done in the camp. But at the end of the day, I'm going to win, and I'm going to knock you out.
Do you think he can knock you out, by the way? I mean, obviously you're going to say no, but look, I mean, we've never really seen you badly hurt or anything, but he's knocked out 13 of his 14 so far.
Listen, but he's never fought anyone like me. He said he fought people like me in the amateurs. We're not in the amateurs. We're professional.
Yeah? So? Oh, I'm going to beat you in the pros.
Oh, there you go. Back yourself.
It's still...
You can't come here and say you're
getting
going to lose. Back yourself.
It doesn't matter how I've said it or what I've said. You're still getting beat. So just
Listen,
sit
you can't
down.
catch me.
Huh?
You can't catch me.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Well, we will see.
Joseph,
Great.
they could go all day.
Yeah, we'll see
They
me.
could go all
Yeah, we'll see me getting knocking you out. Yeah, or stopping you or something.
Try your best.
Anything along them lines.
Try
yeah.
your best, Joe.
Huh? I will be trying my best.
He always tries his best.
I do, I get the results as well. I do.
The best has always worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Bottom line.
Do you think you can hurt him?
I will hurt him. Yeah. I will hurt Joe.
Little tickle. Little Joe tickle.
What's that little Joe tickle? You're suggesting his power
Little
is
Joe tickle.
ticklish.
Little Joe's going to tickle me
Yeah, I will.
on September 24th.
Slap you and punch you and everything else.
Oh, right. Ooh, you're hard.
Look, clearly they're both hard. Look, I want to put this
Not
to
in
you.
that way.
No, and that needn't be discussed, to be honest.
needed to
But Joseph, look, he is this man here has been compared to a young George Foreman. What do you think?
I said, fantastic. That's great. Good on him. And everyone else that's compared him to a young George Foreman. I don't care. I'm here to win.
Ooh, he sounds scared.
A young George Foreman. I think Joseph Parker is a lot younger than Joe Joyce.
Yeah, I would actually say an older George Foreman.
Yeah,
He had more technique.
the second one who won the world title when he was.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to that age now, anyway. Still knocking him out though.
Well, there you go. Look, you've both made it very clear. Give us your final kind of words on this. When that first bell rings, September 24th, BT Sport box office at the AO Arena, Manchester. How do you see this fight playing out,
Beat
Joe?
him up and get him out of there and get the win. That's what I want to do.
Sorry, what was that again?
Say it again about the beating him up thing.
I'm going to beat your ass up. Ooh. And get you out of there and get the win. And then move on. Oh, actually, sorry, you locked me into a rematch clause. So I'm going to have a rematch with you again in December.
If you say so.
I don't need a rematch clause because I back myself.
I back myself, but you
But
know,
you need a rematch.
I'm the A side, so I'm entitled to my rematch clause.
I'll take it.
Huh? Great. Well, the fight's on now, and I can put some dents into your face.
Finally, you're going to put dents into his face, Joe. Give us your final kind of word on this fight. September 24th, first bell rings. What happens?
Oh, at last the fight's made. It's going to be what a night, and it's the best fight out there. And there can only be one winner, and the best on the night will be me, preferably.
Preferably.
I think it's going to be a great fight, man. I'm really excited for it, and it's good that I had a fight in between to like kind of get me back in the ring again, because I've been out for a long time. So yeah, I'm really excited, and you know, I've got a lot of respect for Joe Parker for what he's done in the ring, and you know, it's the best fight to date, and I think it's really exciting with the, you know, the crop of heavyweights that are out there now. So I'm just excited to be, you know, in the best fight, in the best shape, and you know, really put a dent in his face.
Okay, look, Frank put a dent in his face. Frank, great fight, September 24th, got it over the line. It's BT Sport box office, it's AO Arena Manchester. Tell the fans why they should be there, and if they can't be there, why should they tune in?
Because he's going to put a dent in his face and he's going to chase him round the ring. This is going to be a really, really good fight. It's two heavyweights in there, and there's so much on the line. I'm repeating myself again, but there is so much on the line. That prize at the end of this is huge for the winner. It's going to make it so competitive, and their styles will make it a great fight to watch. It will be a great fight to watch. I'm convinced of that.
Joseph Parker, please, your final message to Joe Joyce, who is sat right here. Look him in the eye, tell him something.
I love you.
Quack, quack.
And Joe Joyce, your final message back. Is it quack, or have you got something else you want to look him in the eye?
Bosh. Is what. So when I hit you, it's going to go bosh, yeah, in your face. Maybe quite a few boshes before the end of the night. Just be prepared.
Well, there you go. There's going to be lots of Bosches. September 24th, BT Sport box office at the AO Arena Manchester. Tickets are on sale from midday on Tuesday via ticketmaster.co.uk. Make sure you are there. You're not going to want to miss this. And we're going to do a quick face-off down the front here. And all the media, if you just sort of stay where you are, and you'll be taken to the fighters very shortly. Thank you very much.
Joe Joyce, Joe Parker. Why are these two giants with us here?
Because these two giants are going to fight each other and see who's the best giant.
Listen, I'm very excited to be signing with Boxer and you know, Sky.
You know, Joe Parker's not the ranked number one. He's not the mandatory. Joe Joyce is. This is the Joe Joyce business. You want to get that spot, you've got to beat Joe Joyce.
Taking the lead, we don't follow. We need it now, not tomorrow. Don't care what they say. Not changing the pace.
Why don't we just make the fight happen? Just because he's on BBC Sports and I'm on Sky doesn't mean we can't make it happen.
It's hard to be one of the greats, whatever it takes. Put that on the plate. Life is a gamble, we raising the stakes. Moving the bar up so high. Been on our grind, full life. Bringing the light, you just so bright. We shining.
Edging closer to the inner circle. Just got Joe Parker to beat.
Changing the world with this rhyme and this price.
A lot of people don't want to fight Joe Joyce because he's got an engine on him and he can take a punch and he can do a lot of damage.
Chase to the sun down. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted.
Well, we're back live after a fiery and quite funny press conference at times. I'm here with a man who was on the top table, Mr. Adam Morley. Give us your thoughts. Reflect on that presser that you were just a part of.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of frustration the past 6 months, like a lot of frustration. I think a little bit came out from Frank there. Frank was a little bit frustrated, showed it. Him and Parker did a deal. There was a question about what currency it was done in, when it was done. And I think the way that Parker and his team behaved in not taking the fight, signing with Sky, you know, walking out of the nightclub with supposedly better looking girl, and then coming back, and they looked around, they realised they couldn't make any fights for Joe Parker, so they had to come back. So whatever Sky say, they had to come back. But listen, I said it there and I meant it. Credit to Ben Shalom and credit to Frank and George for actually doing a cross-promotional deal. And we really haven't seen that much in boxing to get a fight like this on. I thought it was dead in the water. I'm delighted it's not dead.
There's some genuine needle now between the fighters, because At times it was stern, at times it was funny, and they
Yeah.
sort of reverted to type. But it feels like there's more animosity than what there was heading into the first time the fight was meant
There's
to happen.
definite animosity from Joe on Joe's side. He's just annoyed because he's fed up of me calling him up saying it's almost signed. You know, throughout this whole process of the negotiation, we got to where we thought we'd be, and then their side would say, we want one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. I gave up telling Joe whether it was signed or not, and it basically got done in the early hours today. Insane.
Made the fight bigger though? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it has made the fight bigger. The extra needle is definitely... I think it was hard, I think, when people looked at this fight. Joe Parker, great guy. Joe Joyce, lovely guy. How are you going to sell this? Two lovely guys. I think real boxing fans will watch it because they know it's a terrific tear-up. But when you want to get pay-per-view numbers, good numbers, you always need a bit of needle. And it's hard with those two guys to manufacture it. It's not really going to work. People will see through it. But there's genuine needle now on Joe Joyce's side. He is sick and tired of having his time wasted. And I think you'll see it.
And part of that frustration must have been that he goes off to Vegas for big fights. He goes off to camps there. That's not cheap. So essentially, he ended up doing a whole camp in Vegas for Christian Hammer, which maybe he wouldn't have done.
Absolutely. I mean, that is one big part of it. First of all, we had the Andy Lee baby excuse. And we were like, OK, so we put the Hammer fight in because of that excuse, knowing that we would fight September 24th. And then when he pulled out, it was like, well, what's the point of that? So it's incredibly frustrating, incredibly expensive. And, last night, 9 o'clock, I still thought it might not be on.
Well, it is on.
Yeah.
September 24th, AO Arena, Manchester. I mean, Joe, your Joe, has been threatening to leave dents in the face of Joseph Parker. Do you think he can? Not necessarily the dents in the face, but, stop him.
Yeah, I think Joe can. Joe will definitely stop him. I think Joe will stop him. I think Joseph Parker's an elite level fighter. And I think for Joe Joyce to win, you'll see he's got to work on everything he always works on, but it's all going to be about the engine. I think you'll see in this fight rounds 9, 10, 11, 12. We never saw it with Dubois. We saw Joe get warmed up, put in a good performance. I think he stopped Daniel in the 9th, maybe 10th or 9th round. I think we'll see a similar fight here where Joe will be on his A game. I think he'll be more elusive than he has been before. I think when he fights people who he perhaps doesn't think are elite level, he may not be as elusive. I think he'll be more elusive now. But then as we get further and further into the fight, what will win this fight for Joe Joyce is his natural engine and durability.
Do you feel as though he can't box like he did against Christian Hammer? It needs to be, as you say, when he's boxing a Daniel Dubois, he's not just walking forward and not respecting him.
Yeah,
like
exactly
he did
right.
with Christian Hammer. So he needs to. You think he needs to show a bit more respect to Joseph Parker?
I think he'll have that respect. I think he switches on himself. It's not like he wasn't switched on about Christian Hammer, but Joe has a tremendous chin. He can walk through shots. I think in the Dubois fight, he got hit with some big shots. I'm not saying he's suddenly going to turn into a very evasive fighter overnight. He's not. He's just going to be that little bit more switched on. I think he will get hit by Parker. He's very fast hands, elite fighter. I think it's going to be a terrific fight. I think going into the last few rounds, it will be very, very tight. But I think Joe Joyce will outlast him, and going into the very later rounds, I think it'll be a late stoppage.
The stakes feel higher. Look, maybe this is just me, right?
Yeah.
It feels like the stakes for Joe Joyce are a bit higher than what they are for Joseph Parker.
Yeah, I agree.
A couple of reasons. He's WBO number one. He could sit there, not fight anyone potentially, and get called for a world title shot. And if he loses, it's a longer road back at 36 years old. What do you think? Why is he doing it? Why is he going for this risky move at this stage in his career?
I think when we started managing Joe Joyce back in 2017, when he was, 31, 32 years old, just turned over to 32. We knew in a kind of game of snakes and ladders, we'd have to go for a lot of ladders. And when you do that, there's a lot of snakes the other side. Like, why would you take the Dubois fight? Yeah. That was a super dangerous fight against probably, aside from Wilder, the hardest puncher in the division. We had to take it because Joe's had to take these risks at every single juncture. He's had to take the risk to go up because of his age. So why are we taking this risk? You're right, we could sit there. He's WBO number one. We can see if when the mandatory gets called. But Joe Joyce needs to be in big fights. I think that's the thing about the heavyweight division. Unlike other divisions, it craves big fights. Derek Chisora still headlines arenas with 12 or 13 losses. No other division would that happen in. No other division. So it's twofold for me as a manager. I want him to become world champion, but I want Joe in big fights. And I want his name to be recognised, and this does both.
And this also feels like one of those fights where you actually can't really talk too much about the fight ahead, because this is a big one. It's like with Christian Hammer, you always talk about Joe Joyce. With Takam, it was always talking about generally the heavyweight division. You talk about Joseph Parker here because he's the best guy, potentially, former world champion. He's got a win over Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
Best guy he's thought it could be.
Listen, you're not looking. Joe Joyce isn't looking past this fight. It's a huge fight. It's the biggest fight of his career. You cannot look past it. It's an incredibly dangerous fight. It's not like fights in the past where someone's underestimated someone and then the two happen, the styles gelled, and then you have 2 fights, trilogies, whatever. This is a massive fight now.
It's a massive fight now. It's a massive fight. September 24th, BT Sport box office. Adam, lovely speaking to you.
Cheers, Dev.
And I'm sure there'll be plenty more Needle in the build-up.
I think there will be.
Yeah, I'll see you in a bit. And I think we're going to bring in Cole Frampton here, so maybe there's going to be a passing of the Queensbury torch here. Look at that.
How you doing?
Wow. How you doing, Cole?
I'm alright.
Yeah? Enjoy that? Enjoy the presser?
Yeah, it was one of the best press conferences I've been to. There wasn't too much animosity, but it was kind of schoolboy, mouthing off at each other. It was
making duck noises.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was funny, but clear to see that both guys are serious about this fight, and both guys are determined to win it.
You've done the face-off between them, the BT Sport. I don't know what BT Sport call it, but you're sat in the middle. You've got one fight at one side, one fight at the other. That's already happened, taken place today. What can you tell us about that?
It was better than I expected. It started off really heated and
started heated.
Started heated. I hadn't even asked a question yet, and it kind of kicked off. Said hello, and they got stuck into each other for a good 5 minutes. So I was kind of worried that obviously both guys have been really respectful to each other in the build-up. I was worried it was going to be hard to make something that's going to be interesting for people to want to watch. But you'll want to watch this. It was good.
Well, yeah, no, look, they're a couple of nice guys, but what you got was the first time that they'd actually come together since all of this messing about, as Joe Joyce sees it, it's finally happening. So you got all the build-up of that frustration there. Tell us some of the things that were said. What can you tell us?
Well, both guys have their own ideas as to why the fight is only just happening now. I think there was a lot of kind of insults, not a lot of insults, but a bit of jibing and that sort of stuff. Talking about, Joe's obviously well known for his great chin. I'm saying Joe, there's obviously two Joes. Joe Joyce. Joe Parker is, he's confident that he can break him down, and because he's that easy hit, that he thinks he'll break him down, he'll wilt at some point. Joe Joyce is confident that, his juggernaut style will be enough to win on the night. But it was great. It was a good kind of half an hour of backwards and forwards. Both guys still have a lot of respect for each other, both determined to win the fight. But I think people want to watch this. It was very good. I enjoyed it.
Well, I don't know how much of a opinion or prediction you can make on the fight, given your role, and I'm sure you'll be involved. But can you tell us who you think will win?
Oh, I think that Joyce is the favourite in the bookies. I think you maybe have to agree with that slightly, but it's a really hard fight to call. I really like both guys. I'm really fond of both of them, but Parker, I think he's a fantastic guy. It's clear that he wants this fight because he teamed up with Sky. It looked like it was dead in the water. So obviously because of him pushing for the fight's now happening. So you have to give him a lot of credit for that. He believes he can win it. Definitely believes he can win it. I don't know. I think it's going to be a tight fight. I think the bookies have Joe a slight favourite. I can understand that. I'll leave it a little bit closer to the time before I make a prediction.
Okay, well, I'll be pushing you very close to the time as well. Bit of a risk for Joe Joyce, right? He's WBO number 1. He's 36 years old. You'd think if he loses here, it's a longer road back for him. And he's also in a position where he could sit on that ranking, maybe just get a world title shot. Why do you think he's taking this sort of risk? And is that something you sort of back? You think, oh, well done, you're taking a risk?
Yeah, of course. I think he thinks he can beat him, and that's great to see. He's very confident in himself and that he can win this fight. He's confident that we've seen what Joe Joyce does. He walks through shots. The question is that going to catch up with you at some point in your career? Will it catch up with him against Joseph Parker? Joe thinks it will, but. Yeah, I think it's a brave fight for both guys. Joe Joyce doesn't really need to take it because of his ranking position. Parker kind of has been at the top, and like Joe Joyce for us, you know, I suppose he's a bit avoided, isn't he? Who wants to fight that guy? Like the guy that is super fit, can fight for 20 rounds if he wanted.
And the bone density
the
thing,
bone density thing, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
And his chin, his durability, his toughness. He's been an avoided fighter. So credit to Joe Joyce. I keep saying to say Joe. Joe. Yeah. Credit to Joe Joyce for taking the fight in the position that he's at. Yeah. Credit for Joseph Parker for wanting to fight probably one of the most avoided men in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I agree. Both fighters deserve a lot of credit. Just finally, tell me about this chin of Joe Joyce, because we've never seen him hurt. He seems indestructible. You mentioned about the 5 times bone density. What on earth would you do if you're whacking people with your hardest flush shots, Carl, and they just keep walking forward? How would you react to that?
Look, I asked that question in the head-to-head. That it's got to be frustrating. It's got to be. I know what it's like when you've bingoed someone, or so you think. You've hit them and it feels nice on your hand, and it feels like it's a shot that should do damage, and there's no effect, and this guy just keeps walking forward. We've seen it against Joe Joyce, and I put that question to Joseph Parker, and you know, he's just confident that he'll break him down. You know, there's going to be shots that bounce off his head for a while, he thinks, and he'll get to him at some point, but I suppose we'll find out on the night.
We will indeed. It will be September 24th. Thank you very much, Carl. September 24th, AO Arena, Manchester. It will be live on BT Sport Box Office. WBO number 1 versus WBO number 2. It's Joe versus Joe. Which Joe are you picking? Let us know. Let us know, like, in the comments and stuff. We'll see you then, September 24th. Thank you.
Joe Joyce, Joe Parker. Why are these 2 giants with us here?
Because these 2 giants are going to fight each other and see who's the best giant.
Listen, I'm very excited to be signing with Boxer and you know, Sky.
You know, Joe Parker's not the ranked number 1. He's not the mandatory. Joe Joyce is. This is the Joe Joyce business. You want to get that spot, you've got to beat Joe Joyce.
Taking the lead, we don't follow. We need it now, not tomorrow. Don't care what they say. Not changing the pace.
Why don't we just make the fight happen? Just because he's on BBC Sports and I'm on Sky doesn't mean we can't make it happen.
It's hard to be one of the greats, whatever it takes. Put that on the plate. Life is a gamble, we raising the stakes. Moving the bar up so high. Been on our grind for life. Bringing the light, you just so bright. We shining.
Edging closer to the inner circle. Just got Joe Parker to beat.
Changing the world with this rhyme and this price.
A lot of people don't want to fight Joe Joyce because he's got an engine on him and he can take a punch and he can do a lot of damage.
Chase to the sun down. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line.